Good morning, UTLA family, students, educators, and parents who are joining us. Today, I will be talking about the need to stay connected and empowered with your colleagues remotely, our bargaining platform, bargaining, correcting the record on a slew of right-wing attacks, fighting for the common good, and give some important dates coming up. First, our strength as a union is based on the creative ideas and power of our members. We continue to inspire, care for, and fight for our students. We are all in this together for a better future for our students and the communities we serve. And we will rise together. On Tuesday, I was invited to a virtual Zoom meeting at Rosemont Elementary School by chapter chair Maria Vargas. She is a rock star. I was able to thank the members for all they do and emphasize why we must continue to stay connected to each other, fight for our rights and those of the communities that we serve, and take time for self-care. I was super jealous of the comfortable chair Mr. Hernandez was sitting in during that meeting. I have been so proud to see and hear so many of you stepping up, being creative, and sharing resources. One group called Distance Learning Educators on Facebook specifically was started by Mia Young and Michelle Tuseda to share lessons, and it has reached over 11,000 members within 52 hours. Take a look and join the group. The link will be dropped in the chat. False media reports. Since last week, there have been false media reports fueled by right-wing propagandists claiming that Los Angeles educators are refusing to return to work until we abolish the police and charter schools and more. This is incorrect. It's damaging, and we have corrected the record, and I want to make it clear once more. UTLA's position is that educators can go back to work physically when it is safe for our students, our community, and all school employees. That is when the coronavirus cases are under control, when testing and contact tracing are in place, and when proven virus prevention measures are properly funded and implemented. These are our conditions, nothing else. First, we are fighting for the health and safety of our school communities. So what does this really mean? It means that our bargaining team is meeting with the district specifically on our working conditions, which in turn are our students' learning conditions. It was the right decision to keep our school campuses closed when the school year starts August 18th. This action alone will save lives and protect hundreds of thousands of educators, students, and families in the LAUSD community from unsafe exposure to the coronavirus. I will discuss bargaining more in detail later. Funding is a critical part of reaching these goals. UTLA identified 12 potential policies that would increase resources to make the safe reopening of schools possible. Defunding the police to redirect money to education and public health, and a moratorium on allocating school classrooms to charter companies so that public schools have space for safe physical distancing are just two of those policies. It is clear that restarting schools will require greater federal and state resources for our schools to support broad community preparedness and economic relief. Now we are in bargaining with LAUSD on two critical priorities: the necessary conditions for school sites to reopen and improving crisis distance learning so it works better for everyone. That's educators, parents, and students, especially for our most vulnerable ones. We will keep fighting and bargaining for the appropriate safety conditions that must be in place before a physical return. And we will keep the fight ongoing in the streets, City Hall, Sacramento, and Washington, D.C. for public needs that are essential for the district to achieve those safety conditions. Common good. I have heard from some members who are concerned that advocating for common good demands, fighting for issues outside of the traditional bargaining of our working conditions, wages, and benefits is a distraction. I believe common good issues are intertwined with our work in the classroom, in our schools, and even in the remote environment we find ourselves in now. Our work is about so much more than just negotiating the terms of conditions of contracts. Of course, employers have always tried to narrow the scope of bargaining itself. In California, we have had to make the fight for class size a mandatory subject of bargaining. In other states, it is not. But fighting for paid family and sick leave, rent and mortgage forgiveness, unemployment benefits extensions, and free health care are some of the issues that our students and our families are in need of and directly impact our working conditions. So how do common good demands affect our working conditions, you might ask? We don't just educate our students, we care for them. We help to provide a safety net in so many ways. And during a pandemic, our role is even more crucial. If the children we teach are from families that are increasingly impoverished, without access to the right technology, or they're homeless or about to be evicted, they're food insecure, or are exposed to illness, but lack the right health care, and are subject to law enforcement, deportations, and other racist practices that affects their ability to do well in school. We care for the whole student, which also means their conditions of life, both inside and outside of school. If the parents or guardians of our students don't have adequate income, health support, our communities will continue to suffer. Tax revenue will decline, making it that much harder to fund needed public services like public education and healthcare. More public education jobs will be lost. Class size will rise. Students will suffer. I think you get the picture. In other words, our welfare as public school educators is totally dependent on the welfare of others. Educators have already successfully led the fight against an unsafe school reopening on August 18th. Now, in a crisis, the likes of which we have never seen in our lifetimes, we must also fight for policies that can bring us closer to that better world for all. Bargaining update. We have been on an accelerated bargaining timeline in order to get an agreement before school starts on August 18th. Look for important bargaining updates through email. I will include a way to update your email very shortly. Our platform centers on 3 priorities. 1, the necessary conditions for the eventual safe return to school sites. 2, improvement to crisis distance learning. And 3, the social safety net that families need to get through this crisis. Our bargaining team met yesterday, Thursday, June 23rd with LAUSD, and we are continuing negotiations today. Using the information members provided us in our recent member survey, We are crafting proposals based on that feedback. We have formed a new crisis distance learning task force with rank and file members who lived the crisis learning last school year, and know firsthand the pitfalls and the promise of remote learning. We have done broad outreach to our members, including a member survey, area meeting discussions, and a poll. We want chapters to meet with their colleagues and discuss the various chapter points as a group. We must all be informed. Strategy subcommittees have been happening with members from early education, special education, HHS, itinerant groups, and substitutes. We have launched a parent survey and we are connecting with them. They are informed about what we're going to need to have a robust remote learning program. Daily bargaining sessions are expected next week. As things develop at that table, we will share info online, social media, and in emails. This is key. As our team works around the clock, know that any agreement reached would be voted on by you, the members. We will include a process for discussion on any potential agreement, as well as important supporting information about bargaining. In addition, holding chapter discussions with your colleagues is important to share and learn from your experiences over the past several months. Please have these regular conversations with your colleagues in chapter meetings. We must be a member-driven union or we cannot succeed. Funding. Did you know that 90% of additional property tax revenue that Prop 15 would generate would come from just 10% of the highest value properties? By making corporations pay their fair share of taxes on properties that haven't been reassessed for decades, Prop 15, known as the Schools and Communities First Act, would generate an estimated $12 billion a year for K through 12 schools and local services. Homeowners would be exempt from the measure, as would commercial properties valued at $3 million or lower, protecting small businesses. In an op-ed this week, business owners in the Minority Business Consortium urged voters to pass Prop 15. They said, to speed our recovery, protect our health, and advance racial justice. We must organize to pass Prop 15 to bring critical funding to our schools. This is so important. Next, I will talk about some important upcoming dates. Our billboard campaign starts. On Monday, July 27th, our We Rise Together billboard campaign begins. Check out the more than 80 billboards that will be posted throughout the city, showing our students and parents we are still here for them, even in a remote environment. The locations of the billboards will be displayed on the website and in the comments section below. August 3rd, National Day of Resistance. On August 3rd, UTLA will join a day of action as a part of the Demand Safe Schools Coalition. The National Day of Resistance includes students, parents, educators, and community members building a movement for a safe, scientific, racially just, and fully funded approach to reopening schools. United with UTLA are the Chicago Teachers Union, Boston Teachers Union, Journey for Justice, Center for Popular Democracy, St. Paul Federation of Educators, Midwest Academy, Milwaukee Teachers Education Association, National Educators United, Racine Educators United, Little Rock Education Association, and the Oakland Education Association. Check out the link in the comments section for more information. We rise together. UTLA's Leadership Conference. You can register at bit.ly/UTLA LC 2020. And I'm sure that it's in the comments section below. On August 5th through the 7th, join us for our first ever virtual leadership conference. All UTLA members are welcome to attend. Over 3 days, we will strategize and organize as we recognize our responsibility in this unique moment to rise together for the safety, health, and well-being of our students and communities. Many of the sessions are for members only, but the State of the Union address on Wednesday and the Black Lives Matter panel on Thursday will be streamed live on Facebook and Instagram. Here's a quick breakdown for the 3 days. On Wednesday at 3:30 p.m., I will deliver my first State of the Union address, followed by a virtual DJ party at the member reception. Thursday, we'll begin with core trainings from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., followed by a panel discussion from 11:15 a.m. to 1 p.m. It will be with activists who have been leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement long before it was a global phenomenon. On Friday at 9 a.m., Dr. Bettina Love will deliver the keynote address on how we acknowledge institutional racism in education with honesty and embracing a re-envisioning of pedagogy and practice to improve educational opportunities for Black students. Check out the link in the comments for more information. Updating your UTLA email. Staying connected is so important, and having your most up-to-date email is too. If we do not have your personal email, that's not an LAUSD email, your personal email, check the chat for the link and remember to update your information so that you can receive important updates from UTLA. Look for a member email news update every Wednesday, and I will be here on Facebook Live at 8 a.m. every Friday. Before we sign off today, my son Giovanni, who's asleep, thank goodness, wanted to make sure to wish his godmother, Erica Jones, a very spectacular birthday. He says, "Nina, you are a shining star, and I love you." I think I can say that as well. I love you too. Shout out for having a great day. Until next time, UTLA family, be safe. Take time for yourself. Stay united. We are UTLA strong.